Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. My name is Eric Music, and if you like the show or it has helped your business in any way, I invite you to please consider supporting the show by visiting the subscription boxshow.locals.com. There you're going to get exclusive content, exclusive videos, all kinds of fun stuff we do there with our community that is found nowhere else. And you can join for free, or you can consider supporting the show for as low as $5 a month. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Karley?
Good. Where are you located?
I am in Canada.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I am in central Canada. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Canadian landscape, but yeah, I'm right in the middle. Whereabouts are you?
Nice. I'm in LA, so West Coast.
Not even close.
Yeah, I know. The couple times I've been to Canada was for Shopify. And so I was like, oh, I'm from like the Midwest. I'm from Chicago. Like I can handle cold. And so I went to Canada. I went to Waterloo in like January, like the middle of January.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wait, this is like a whole different level of cold. And I was like, okay, I'll come back in the summer. And then I went to Toronto for Shopify Unite. And I was like, okay, this is much better.
Yeah, summers in Toronto. I've never been there. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I have been there in the summer for a wedding, but yeah, they can get pretty hot and humid in Toronto there because of, I guess, all the lakes and everything that's surrounding them. So yeah, I mean, we have it's just like the States, right? It's a huge country. So you're going to have a huge range of like areas where it's like the different weathers. Like if you go to Vancouver in January on the West Coast, right? It'll be more like, it'll be cold and chilly.
Mild.
But it'll be a lot milder than you go as you go further east, right? So, and up here in the middle, it's even colder than what you would have in Waterloo and all that. Like in here, it's kind of like yeah.
So where are you in consideration of like Banff? Are you closer or farther?
Oh yeah, farther east. I'm about, I could drive to Banff in about 15, 16 hours.
Oh, so that would take you quite
Straight
a bit of
east.
time.
Yeah. So it's a good day's drive to Banff from here. I'm like right in the middle. So think North Dakota, Minnesota, right above that.
You're right there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That makes
Actually,
a lot of sense.
in my province of Manitoba, there's half of it. If you go on this side of it, it'll get you to or North Dakota. On this side, it'll get you to Minnesota. So you can.
Wait, I love that. That's so fun.
So welcome here. We are live and recording. So welcome to the show. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? Like we've been talking for a little bit. And then I'm just glad we were able to do this. I read an article on ShipBob. So first of all, I should probably introduce you because for those listening or viewing, we are with Karley here from ShipBob. And maybe just for those who have never heard of ShipBob, maybe give us a quick intro of what you guys do, kind of an overview, let's say an elevator pitch of what you guys do there.
Yeah, totally. So ShipBob is a tech-enabled 3PL, and you're like, Karley, what the heck is a tech-enabled 3PL? So really what ShipBob does is we integrate with all the major e-commerce platforms. So think Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento. And then really how it works is we work with both D2C and B2B brands. We integrate with their e-commerce store, whatever store they have. They send their physical inventory to our fulfillment centers. And then as orders come in, so as the end consumer buys from them, we pull in that order seamlessly, and then we pick, pack, and ship it out. And then I think we do a lot of really cool things around 2-day delivery. Our whole thing is giving Amazon logistics to e-commerce brands. And then we have around 18 fulfillment centers in the US, and we have 5 international locations. So we have 2 in Canada. We have 1 in Australia, 1 in Poland, and 2 in London.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to get to and I want to get to the international stuff soon because it fascinates me. And I love how you guys, like, going to your website. If people go to shipbob.com, you're going to see this like 2-day delivery. And I'm like, come on, is that really something doable? But I guess it is. Like you're saying, you guys are doing that on, it's just because of the scale of your warehouses or fulfillment centers?
Yeah. So really what we're able to do, and that's where like the tech piece comes, like we are very much a 3PL that can deliver on the operational complexities of custom packaging and everything like that. But the tech piece is really, I think, what differentiates us. So essentially we just say, hey, give us like, 3 to 6 months of historical shipping data. from your website. And then basically we'll look at it and we'll be like, okay, amazing. It looks like you need to send, 10,000 units to LA, 10,000 units to like middle US. So think like Dallas, Texas, or Chicago, Illinois. Then have some in, right outside of New York and like Pennsylvania. And then typically Florida is a little harder to ship to as well. So have some stock in Florida. And it's like those 4 fulfillment centers can give you like 80 to like 90% coverage of the continental US. And then if you're a scaling brand and you're newer, we always recommend, hey, start with one fulfillment center in like central US that gives you really good coverage, or just have, some inventory on the West Coast, and the East Coast also gives you amazing coverage.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't even thought of the flexibility, because if you're starting out, let's say you're a smaller brand looking at, you don't have 10,000 here, 10,000, you might just have, a couple thousand. Is there like a point where you guys typically help people out? Because I would think as a subscription brand, 2-day shipping. So if you're an e-commerce brand, right, if I'm selling hats and t-shirts, I want that in and out fast as possible. I want my customer to get that like ASAP. Subscription brands like myself, for our company, I ship out on the 10th of every month, and whether they get it in 2 days or 5 days, they know they're getting it within that week or whatever, right? So I think maybe having that one right in the middle to kind of like distribute is it more of a cost thing if you have it at different centers or just one?
Yeah. So really what we recommend brands, so we can work with brands of any size. We can work with the new Shopify brand or BigCommerce brand. Typically I think it makes sense from a cost perspective if you're not VC funded, like utilize like a ShipStation to get discounted rates. I would say when you're at like 300 to 400 shipments a month, that's really from a cost perspective where it makes sense to use a 3PL. And then, if you want to just have one fulfillment center, we always recommend Texas is actually like the most central spot in the US. And then it really depends on your product, right? We work with a brand that does weighted blankets. And so for them, think like their blankets are really heavy. Yeah. They only have one SKU, and like they don't even do crazy order volume. They do crazy order volume during the holiday, but for them, it's really about splitting inventory to save money, because instead of it coming from Texas to the West Coast and Texas all the way to Florida, that can be really expensive, especially when the blanket's 15, 20 pounds. So for them, really, it's about splitting their inventory to get cheaper rates, right? Going from LA to San Francisco, going to LA to Seattle, like is a way shorter distance than Texas to Seattle.
Cool. Yeah, I think, and if you're watching this or listening to this and you're like, why are we talking about fulfillment centers? I'm just thinking of starting. Well, at some point, like you said, it's not that far off. If you're getting to 300-400 shipments, if you've ever been there, which we have, like, that's still a lot of boxes to pack yourself. It's a crazy amount. Like you don't realize, and you might say, well, once I get to a certain number, well, that's kind of like, that's a good number to get at. I think, I know typically people I've heard in the past would say, 500 to 1,000, you start looking at these kind of 3PL centers. And I myself, like if you're doing it all from your own home, which we were for a long time, like that's a lot of boxes to pack and it takes up your time and stuff. And it's sometimes hard to let go. So what kind of checks do you have in place? Because I know when we pack our boxes, it's like, or it's done to a T. You need to make sure everything's like a certain way. What kind of like assurance is there for brands out there if they're looking at having a hard time letting go?
Yeah, no, to your point, we have a lot of brands that, one, they're like, it's a necessity. They're like, my partner, whoever, we can't have this inventory in our house, in my garage anymore. Like I need to get it out to get some of my sanity and life back. And it's just such a time saver too, versus going to UPS or DHL or Canada Post. Like going to the post office every day, like isn't the best use of your time. Quite honestly, it's what I think. Like spend your time on marketing, spend your time on building your website. But to your question, like what checks and balances do we have? So within our fulfillment centers, really how it works is we store all of your inventory close to each other. So it's maybe a bin, 2 bins over, a pallet over. It's really, really close. And then essentially how it works is all of our fulfillment workers have iPads. And essentially they go to the bin and they scan it. if it's not the right product, it will not allow them to pick it. It will come up with a huge X and it basically says, no, that's not it. And then essentially they have to go to the right spot, scan it. And then if the brand has UPCs, which is like an awesome way to reduce the error rate as well. We don't require it because we internally barcode the location that the product's in. But if they have UPCs, we can scan those as well, especially with beauty brands. We find that a lot of times, and honestly with apparel more, is people are ordering more than one size. So you want to make sure you're getting the correct size, and that scanning really helps because the products look identical, right? Like a small to a medium, like really can't tell the difference. So that's really how it works from like a error rate perspective. And then of course, if we ship out the wrong product, we're going to go ahead and reimburse the merchant that postage, that shipping, and then we'll go ahead and send the correct item out.
Yeah, I can imagine what a headache. Like I try to wrap my brain around how this would work because, I just ordered a t-shirt online the other day. It came in the simple little mailer bag, right? Simple. I mean, you packed a t-shirt, whether it was my size, you put it in the bag and I get it. But for a subscription box, if they have 5 to 7, 8 items, I'd be nervous that they're going to, screw it up, to be honest. So I guess you guys have obviously a system in place. You've worked with subscription brands. Yeah,
we work with so many subscription brands. I think our fulfillment centers are like operating at an 88% error rate, which is like incredible. I think that really just speaks to the training we do. And when it comes to subscription brands, we work with so many beauty brands and like that's huge in subscription. And oftentimes it's a makeup, it's a highlighter, it's a makeup brush, and they want it kitted a certain way and they want it, the presentation, they want the new shiny object in the middle and they want everything else around it and it has placeholders. And for that, we just do kitting projects. So when it comes to subscriptions, really what we can do is merchants can request a kitting order. And really what that means is we receive in the products and then we go ahead and we pre-kit the boxes for them. So when it's the time of the month, maybe the first of the month and all the orders need to go out, they're already pre-packaged. We put a label on it and we send it out.
Nice. So what about customization? If someone used to maybe do handwritten notes or something, because that was like their differentiator between, our brand and the big brand that's out there, is there any kind of customization that you can do? Or is that, how does that work?
Yeah, I love customization. I mean, from a consumer standpoint, whenever I get something custom, I think it like really resonates with me. I really like it. And so for us, for ShipBob, yes, we don't have anyone writing handwritten notes, but we have seen brands partner with some companies that basically write them mass handwritten notes. Like they're a little more generic. It will be like, hey, X customer, and it doesn't say your name or anything, but it's still a handwritten note. And they'll give us like a couple thousand of those. And so then anytime an order comes in, we just pick that, put it in the box. And then I think a really cool thing we do, and it's actually pretty unique, is for Shopify brands, if they want to, at the checkout, let's say it's someone's birthday and you want to write, hey, happy birthday in like the gift note section, what we can do is we can actually print that out and then we can put it in the box. And then of course we allow custom packaging. We really encourage custom packaging, inserts. I think the stats 40% of shoppers will post an image on social if it comes in branded packaging. So I always tell brands, it's don't think of custom packaging as another line item you need to pay for. It's really a marketing tool, right? And it really is what's going to differentiate your brand. And it's really what's going to resonate well with your customer. And it's going to help increase, repeat purchases.
So you're talking about a box, printed box, tissue paper, logo tissue paper, maybe even the tape. So you guys would have a section. So we would have our boxes made wherever we make them and then have them ship over to ShipBob. Is that the case? Or you guys have your own manufacturing for the boxes and stuff like that, or no?
Yeah. So when it comes to boxes we have on stock, we just have brown, corrugated, eco-friendly boxes. And then, so it's just very standard. And then we have packaging partners that we recommend our merchants to. They give discounted rates. One of them actually, I'll give them a shout out, Arca. They have a direct integration with us. So anytime you order packaging, custom packaging. So what I mean by custom packaging is that has your logo on it. Maybe it's a soft to touch box, it's a textured box, whatever. You can place that with them. And what they do is they create what's called the WRO. It's warehouse receiving order. And so we need that in order to accept inventory into our fulfillment center. So it just auto creates one for you. It says, hey, you have 10,000 boxes coming from Arca, and we just scan it in, receive it, and it makes it really easy. But yeah, I would say a majority of our merchants are using some sort of custom packaging, whether it's an insert or a box. They have something in there that's a little differentiated.
Yeah, I think most brands subscription boxes, that's part of the whole experience, is you're going to have your own custom box. I personally would just keep working with my manufacturer unless the offer was really attractive when you're partners,
Totally.
and then just have my boxes shipped out. Canada, where are you guys located in Canada? I saw there's like, I was just looking at the maps there. It looked like there's one around Montreal.
Yeah. And then Ontario.
And then Ontario. So you guys ever think of expanding to like on the West Coast somewheres, or even like in a Winnipeg, for example, like right in the middle of the country would be kind of like your Texas, right?
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking next. I think in terms of international, we're really trying to, one, of course, where our software isn't bilingual yet. We'll get there probably next year. And then once we do, we're going to definitely expand more. Right now, we're trying to target the predominantly English speaking countries, just because it's easier. We haven't transitioned anything in from USD or anything yet. We're definitely getting there. It's one thing we're really like heads down focused on from a product standpoint. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to keep expanding in Canada. I mean, we just have so many merchants that are in Canada. And then of course our US brands. It's like really easy. I think the cool thing about ShipBob and our international fulfillment centers, it's really easy to test out in a new market, right? Like send a couple hundred units to Canada, maybe do some SEO, have, if you're a subscription brand, have, your first set of orders go out from Canada and see how it does, see how people respond to it. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. Just send your stock back to the US or wherever you want it to be sent to. It's really nice to just be able to test out some new markets without the heavy overhead of owning your own fulfillment center.
I love that. And I want to get into that then. So, but first, maybe I should just thank today's sponsor, which is SUBTA, the Subscription Trade Association, and Sub Summit 2022. So looking at you guys there, if you guys haven't got your ticket yet to Sub Summit, go and get your ticket. And if you want to use my affiliate link, do so, and you're going to get 50% off. So you're not going to get that offer anywhere else. Use my affiliate link, and you only can get that through our locals community. So I'm also going to plug my locals community. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's brand new. Go to thesubscriptionboxshow.locals.com. There, you're going to have access to all the exclusive content that we post, like the post-show wrap-up, the Q&As we do with certain guests, and you're going to have access to me as well. And you're also going to get a free, a free 15-minute session with me if you want to have some kind of like CRO review, if you want me to take a look at your website, your Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff. I do a free consult. That's the word I was looking for, Karley. I'm just trying to find my words. You see, I'm bilingual. I'm French Canadian, so sometimes my words do slip me. So, have you heard of Locals, by the way?
No, I haven't.
So think Patreon. It's like another version of Patreon. I would say that would be the Patreon's competitor. So for creators out there, it's a great place to have your content outside of the big tech of Facebook and stuff. So it's kind of like a Facebook group, but more customizable. Not as controlled. You get access. You actually have access to the people you bring into your community. Imagine that.
Because I love that.
Yeah. So for example, like our Facebook group, it has like, I don't know if it's at 1,100 people or whatever. It's not a huge group, but it was a very engaged group. And what happened is that you can't even reach your community anymore. You do a post, whether it's a live, a video, you try to do a post, and it reaches like a fraction of your community because you have to boost your own posts in your own community. So I was getting kind of sick and tired of that. So not to rant on Facebook. I mean, we use Facebook ads and stuff. Obviously, it's part of the business, but I just thought it was weird that, you grow a community and then all of a sudden they kind of like take it away from you unless you pay. So I'm like, let's go to Locals. And it's a cool place for creators like us to kind of offset some of our charges. Because if you're a premium member, and you can start as low as $5 a month, You get exclusive content. We try to make some cool stuff for the people who chip in, have access to live chats when we do lives and all that kind of thing. So yeah, go check that out. And at the same time, email me, Eric at the Subscription Box Show. If you are thinking of going to Sub Summit in June 1st to the 3rd in Orlando, is ShipBob going to be there by chance?
We will be there.
Oh, are you going to be there?
I think we will be there. I'm pretty sure we will be there. But yeah, we usually participate in Sub Summit. The last couple of years have just been, obviously, with COVID and the pandemic. A lot of the conferences have not been happening, but conferences are fully back. And so we're super excited to kind of hit the road and meet some of our merchants and really, you know, mix and mingle with a lot of merchants and hear a lot of cool stories.
Yeah. And just to shake hands, I just love kind of going and shaking hands and meeting people. Like I'm more of a, like even these interviews one day would love to have them like in person, right? Yeah. Like all the people that I watch on the big shows, like they'll fly in their guests and stuff. That's the way to do it. In person's the best way. I'm done with you, Zoom. Like I'm just so tired of all these virtual conferences and stuff. I mean, they had a place, I guess, but now it's like time to move on. Speaking of moving on, I want to go back to the international stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that's pretty cool. So to try out, so for example, let's use my company as an example. How easy would it be for Louis and Leia to be able to be, you don't ship to the UK or Australia? I know those are sort of like hot spots for subscriptions as well. You know, Australia, I noticed. Yeah, did you have a fulfillment? Yeah. You guys do, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Australia is another one. I don't know what's in the water there, but some of our biggest e-com brands come out of Australia. I swear they teach it to them in like first grade on how to have a successful e-com business.
I wonder if it's the proximity to Asia and like having access to that stuff really quick.
Yeah.
Makes it maybe easier. I don't know, because
it's super interesting.
Proximity to me would be a one, but maybe it's just the spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit is strong in some places, right? Yeah. Like I don't know, for the Americans, like Americans have a really strong entrepreneurial spirit. Canadians are getting there. I think Canadians are still kind of like, more job-ish type people, but I mean, there's certainly a strong entrepreneurship in any country. What about UK? Anyways, let's use me as an example. Let's say I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I know Australia has a hotbed for subscriptions. I know that. And I know the UK, just from our listeners, we have listeners in UK, listeners in Australia. How easy would it be for Lou and Leb to say, you know what, let's test out the market in Ireland, England, and, France or whatever?
Yeah. So it's pretty easy. We'll walk you through the process. You actually have to get, set up. You have to get, your website needs to be able to handle multi-currency, which, your platform can help you with.
Shopify, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So Shopify makes it super easy for you to do that. And for us, we'll go ahead and help you. We'll actually help you with as well with the custom clearance. We have freight partners that's what they do. And that's what they're experts at. We don't try to do freight. It's a big beast, just as big as fulfillment. So we really, really rely on partners to help with that. But essentially what we'll do is you'll work with a freight partner. We'll schedule a pickup. So if you have inventory in the US or if it's coming from somewhere else, the freight partner will essentially pick it up. They'll bring it to our fulfillment center, give us like 4 or 5 business days to process the inventory, put it all into stock. Once we have it in stock, you'll actually get an email notification letting you know, hey, orders are ready to go out. You basically turn it on. Basically, you push a little button and it says, yes, I'm ready to fulfill international orders out of like the UK fulfillment center. And then we'll just go ahead, pick, pack, and ship them out. And it's like pretty simple. It's a very complex thing that we try to simplify. Of course, the customs and all that takes a couple of weeks to get set up. And then of course, getting your inventory there, depending on, how you're getting it there, if you're doing air or whatever service you're doing, can also take a couple of weeks. And then, 4 to 5 business days for us to receive an inventory, pick, pack, and ship it out.
Cool. What's the timeline you guys suggest for people? So let's say, my June box, you guys want those products like probably last month kind of thing. Is it like 4, 5, 6 months ahead of time, 3 months minimum? What do you guys like to see there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I say we try to say like, it really depends too on like, do the products need to be kitted? Do they, have certain presentation? That will probably say, hey, get it to us sooner rather than later, 2 months. That way we have time, put in a kitting order. If the kitting orders, we can get them done in a 24-hour SLA. but we just say, hey, get it to us sooner than later, just because we don't want it to be a rush thing, especially if it is, custom and it needs to look a certain way. We'll typically say like 2 months before the box needs to go out. And then we also encourage, I'm not sure if you heard of them, inventory planner. Do you utilize them by chance?
No.
Okay, cool. Inventory planner is a really good, like inexpensive Shopify tool. Right now it's only on Shopify, but basically what they do is inventory planning. And so inventory forecasting. So letting you know how many units you should get. And it accounts for seasonality. And so you can actually be like, okay, how many units should I get if I'm going to go international? It will kind of give you like a rough gauge on what you should order. Cool. And so I always encourage brands to utilize that as well for inventory forecasting. It's really powerful and helpful. And it's just like such a really inexpensive add-on.
I love that. I'm going to check it out. It's an app on Shopify. Inventory planner. That'll be a good one. I'm going to check that out. Okay, so now I ship my stuff. So I just contact my suppliers. I have some in Canada. I have some overseas through Alibaba, and I just say we're shipping X amount of units here, X amount of units there. That's all on me, obviously. And as long as I get my product to you guys will have them in your fulfillment centers ready to go. Yeah,
we're doing some cool things too. I will say around freight. Right now, I think everyone is feeling the pain. I think it's starting to get a little bit better, but I flew out of Long Beach in California, and flying out, I wish I could share the picture. I just saw like 30 boats in the middle of the ocean, just chilling, waiting. And so what we're doing, and this is really for the US only, but we're partnering with a freight company where essentially what we're doing for our merchants is we're saying, okay, we can expedite your inventory from China to the US. However, basically what we're doing is we're getting a container and we're picking up multiple customers' inventory in one day or in 2 days or in a week. And then we're putting it onto this container, and then we're expediting it through a port. And then we're able to like reduce the transit time by like 14 to like 20 days. I am pretty sure is what we're doing. So we definitely see the pain in all of our customers with having their inventory not accessible and just sitting on the water.
It's huge. And that's why all the more reason to get ahead of it, I think, not to be too last minute. Otherwise, do you guys do air stuff as well?
So we do right now. We're able to do the expedited with through water. But air, I will say our partners, our freight partners do air. I would say it's just a premium service, and it comes with a premium price tag.
Big time. Yeah.
So it's really what's a cost effective for the brand. If they can do it, we recommend it. There's, a lot less risk when it comes to that, but most of our merchants do ship via water.
Yeah. I think water is for sure the best. I think what's tough, especially, and we're sort of in that middle ground where we're growing. It's like, it's tough to forecast with your numbers because you're growing it. And so for C, you need to get it so far in advance that sometimes we price in that air, because especially in the early beginning, if you're listening, I might be wrong doing this. It's just the way for us. It's simpler, small team, small business. We're growing fast. It's hard to predict numbers 6 months from now or 4 months from now, even. So it's like 3 months is kind of what we give ourselves, and we'll do a lot of the time air 3 months at a time. And just because we know the timeline's going to be, we pay a premium, no doubt. And I'm very, very much aware of that, but it makes sense to us still as a small business to sometimes go air, just guaranteed a lot faster. So I think of that as an option that, and also it's a lot simpler, I find, through like freight management through air. So premium service, premium price, no doubt. But if you can price that in somehow, that is an option, just so you know, because that C by C can be overwhelming. You got to think, months and months and months in advance. And if you're trying to forecast where your numbers are going to be, maybe that's where, I don't know, and more tools like inventory planner come in to help. But
I was going to plug inventory planner again. I'm like, you got to look at inventory forecasting, and they connect with your Shopify, and they do some really cool things with predictability and all of that based on order history. And as you're going up, they'll take that into account and then tell you. Mm-hmm. And then of course, when we see our customers doing airs, sometimes they'll use another Canadian company Clearco for like unlocking capital and financing. We'll see a lot of that as well.
Yeah, we've used Clearco before. Good history with them. They're awesome. Yeah, very. Is Clearco? Do they do stuff for like Dragon? Or sorry, I was gonna say Dragon's Den in Canada, but for Shark Tank in the States, are they on there too?
I don't know if they do Shark Tank in the States. We do a lot of Shark Tank with fulfillment. I don't know if they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. We have a lot of merchants that use them, and essentially they're able to unlock capital, if they want to use a fulfillment center or anything like that, or they want to use, their new brand, and they're like, hey, I can't do, like you said, ship from China via water. I need to use air. And so, we'll see a lot of our brands utilize them for capital.
Well, yeah, they're super easy to use too. I mean, if you guys have any questions, if watching or listening, you can reach out and email me, eric@thesubscriptionblockshow.com. I used to have an affiliate link with them just because they were on the show. But I mean, I'm not too sure if it's still active or not. I can try it. I can let you try to use it. If not, I'll get you in contact with Daniel or one of the guys from Clearco that were on the show before. So yeah, it's just another option. There's so many options out there now. There's no shortage of ways to gain stuff. So I want to talk about a little bit of numbers here. And I don't know if you want to, let me just peek out of here for a second here. Because you guys have a lot of different kind of like stats and numbers on your site. And a lot of them are like,
don't quiz me.
Oh, I'm quizzing you for sure now. Yeah. No, just like, 99.95 accuracy rate in fulfilling orders. You mentioned earlier 88. So I don't know what the difference is. That's just subscriptions because of the number of like variances there is. 7,000 plus e-commerce businesses. That's crazy. 99.96 of orders shipped on time. What's SLA within SLA?
So SLA, I think we sometimes forget, people don't speak in fulfillment language. SLA is, so for us, it's any order that comes in before 12 p.m. based on the time zone you're in. So I'll use an example. So any order that hits our Chicago fulfillment center before, 12 p.m. CST, it's guaranteed to go out the same day. And then any order after 12 p.m. is guaranteed to go out the next day. However, with that being said, just because there's a cutoff time of 12 p.m., sometimes, UPS or DHL will be late, so we can sneak a couple more thousand orders in there. I always like to say, but yeah, we really pride ourselves on, our air rate and orders going out on time, because we do a lot around estimated arrival time, especially for Shopify. So that's basically the little badge that says, hey, your order is going to get there Thursday, April 26th. And so for that, it's really important when you're building your brand and transparency and, building that customer loyalty, that what you're saying there is actually what you can deliver on.
Cool. Makes sense. I also see a lot of this omni fulfillment several times on the website. What does that mean, omni fulfillment?
Yeah, omni fulfillment means basically doing D2C and B2B. So we do a lot with brands they have strong direct to consumer, and they also offer B2B. So what I mean by B2B is they're shipping there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can ship to mom and pop boutiques. You can ship to big box retailers. So that's going to be your Sephora, your Whole Foods, your Ulta, your Best Buy. And then it's as well as like shipping on those .coms. So we have a really interesting brand called The Caker. They basically sell premium cakes. And so they have a really big D2C brand, and they also do really well with B2B. So they came to us and they're like, hey, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus are really interested in carrying our cake mix. Like, we have no clue how to do this. Like, this is amazing. And so we really encourage that, just because it gets more eyes on your brand than maybe they would finding you online. And so essentially what they did is they're now on those .coms, and they have physical product in store. So anytime someone goes to, NeimanMarcus.com, orders the Caker's cake mix, we see that as a D2C order, pick, pack, and ship it out. And then of course they place manual orders within the ShipBob dashboard and say, hey, we need 10 pallets to go to Neiman Marcus of this cake flavor. And then we'll basically arrange the freight for them and we'll ship it to the Neiman Marcus locations.
Well, is everyone, it seems like, yeah, that's such a great idea. Because I think it's very, as everything is opened back up, like it's very trendy. I think people want to go back in retail. And I think there's a trend. There might be a bit of a down, maybe not a down curve from e-commerce, but there's going to be back and upswing, I think, through traditional retail. People are excited to walk back into stores and feel and touch things and look at them, window shop, whatever. So I think for us as a brand too, we're looking at ways of, we're contacting, we're reaching out to all these baby and mom stores that we want to be in their stores. So this would be a fantastic way for us to, once we make that relationship, to have something like a fulfillment center be able to do both the D2C and the B2B. So I love that. That's there's a lot of, oh, you were going to say, go for it.
No. I was just going to say, I think it's like so great, especially if you can just be on the .coms, like Target.com. I think we've all seen it, at least in the States, this huge shift that Target has so many D2C brands now in their stores and online. It's really cool. And it's cool just to see the growth that these brands experience after being on a Target. Even their Shopify orders go up, right? People will just go to their website and order, especially if they're doing promos or anything like that. I know from a consumer end, at least if I find a brand on Target, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they have a Shopify store, because I bet they're probably doing a promotion or sale that Target might not be. So I always check out a couple of places before I end up buying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great point too. It doesn't have to be a physical retail store. It could just be an online.com retail store. But it seems like there's just a lot of moving parts here. So is there something like, do you have a dedicated account rep and stuff? Like, how does that, because you're like, holy cow, like, sure. Like, okay, now I got the order 2 pallets of my cake mix, right? Did someone contact the manufacturer? Is there, because, all of a sudden missing link where, well, we don't have 2 pallets to fill because they're going out to this place or whatever. So how does that all, is there like some kind of like system in place, or is it just all on, it's my business, I got to be on top of all these different things that are coming in?
Yeah. So we don't work with like the brand's manufacturer, but what we do is we provide transparency. So you can see how much inventory you have in all of the fulfillment locations, whether it's, Los Angeles, whether it's Canada, whether it's the UK. It shows you how much we have in stock. And it also shows how much is processing. So how much we are taking out right now and working on for shipping out orders. So it gives you all of that data. That's really important for brands to be able, to know, hey, I'm running low on stock. Well, also you can set re-notifications for yourself where it's like, I want to be alerted once I hit my inventory hits 1,000 units. We can send you an email notification so hey, I need to re-up. I need to talk to my manufacturer. I need to place another PO. And then to your point around the customer support and account management piece. So how it works with ShipBob is if you're doing 1,000 orders a month, you get a dedicated account manager. So this is someone you work one-on-one with. They'll be your main point of contact. And then for all other merchants, we have a customer support team that is 24 hours. And basically you can call them, you can email them. And typically we work within a pod system. So you're not working with 100 different people, you're working within a pod. So it's typically 3 people. You might rotate between 3. Typically, if you have a case open, you're going to work with the same person. And then you can schedule calls with them. The last thing we want to do is your case gets passed around from person to person.
You're explaining your case every time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's super frustrating and not the best experience. And fulfillment is just like, there's so many things that can go wrong. And that's really why it's important to pick the right fulfillment center. I always encourage brands. I'm like, do your homework, research us, look at our reviews, make sure you ask all the good questions about, how fast you guys answer support tickets. Is there a phone number to call? A lot of times there's not. You're just emailing with someone, and that can be super frustrating. And then ask, what is it, can I get account manager? What does that threshold look like for when I qualify for one? All that's really important, and really what I encourage brands to do when they're evaluating 3PLs is really do your homework, because there's a lot of good 3PLs out there, but there's also a lot of bad 3PLs out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think I always tell people like if whoever you're going to work with, partners and whatever, however that is, even a manufacturer for that, how easy is it to get a hold of someone? Because when push comes to shove and you're in crunch time, it can be really frustrating. We've gone through some pretty crazy things the last few years, and you need to be able to get a hold of someone. You want to know that you'll be able to get a hold of someone. So that's huge, and I'm glad that you guys you have that. So you guys have a phone number. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to kind of go in here when it comes to, again, my example. So I want to ship now okay, we're already shipping to the States. So let's talk savings here. So I know when people ship themselves, whether Canada Post, like it's crazy. And maybe Canada's a bad example just because it's so expensive. I don't know if you guys see, if you guys see that. But what's on average? Let's say someone, okay, let's rewind. Let's start with someone who's in the States and they're doing it all themselves. What kind of savings do they typically see by moving to something like, and let's say they have a minimum 300 members or boxes to fulfill a month? What kind of savings can people typically see?
Yeah. So I can't give a percent just because like all pricing varies based on what the product is, right?
Weight, size, yeah.
What the subscription box gonna ship out versus what a subscription box of like maybe I'm trying to think a heavier product, like what do we have as heavier products? Food, sometimes we'll do subscription boxes with food and they're just heavier. Sometimes they have olive oil boxes in them. But what I will say is essentially what ShipBob does is we say, hey, UPS, DHL, Canada Post, we have 7,000 merchants doing X amount of volume, and we broker those discounted rates, right? So then we go ahead, we get those rates every year, we re-up, we renegotiate, and then we assign pass that cost saving off to our merchant, right? So typically when merchants come to us, they look at our postage rates and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like so much cheaper than what we could have gotten on ourselves, even if they're a big brand. Because if you look at us, 7,000 merchants doing, some of our top merchants are doing 80,000 shipments a month.
Crazy.
So that just helps these smaller brands be able just to get these better discounted rates than they could on their self. But I'll have to get back with you with what the exact stat is, because that's a really good question.
Well, it's just something like, yeah, like I know for us, when we started using Fulfillment Center up here, like we went from like an average of like, I think we saved like $2 a box on average, which is crazy. Like it's nuts up here, right? Like it is a crazy. So I think typically people are like, well, there's gonna be a cost of something. Like what's the cost involved? What's in it for ShipBob? So you want to just kind of talk about how that works?
Yeah, so let me go through how we charge. So essentially, ShipBob's pricing structure is we charge for receiving in inventory, we charge for warehousing the physical product, and then we charge for what we call the total fulfillment cost. So your postage, box, all of that is all bundled up in one thing. And then essentially, I think the really cool, and I'm sorry, I'm skipped one, implementation. So that's just a one-time fee of we'll go ahead, we'll integrate your Shopify, your BigCommerce, your WooCommerce, whatever store you're on, we'll integrate it. You'll work with someone. Even if you don't have an account manager, implementation, you have someone for your first 60 days of onboarding, because that's when we know this is the hardest part for you, right? We don't try to simplify fulfillment. It's tricky. It's this big complex thing, especially if you're coming from another warehouse and we get it. So that's really why we have this person dedicated for you for the first 60 days of onboarding, because that's really when we found that the most questions come up, the most problems come up. So just having someone there really helps. And then why am I blanking on what your question was?
Well,
I got lost. How ShipBob makes money.
Yeah. Which you kind of mentioned it, right? Like all those things, you pay for all those things. I guess my follow-up question would just be like, for someone, let's just use my $2 on average that I would save on. Is it just become then, because there is a cost of doing business with fulfillment centers, but there's also a massive saving in shipping, and not to mention like the rate, like the 2-day guarantee, all that stuff, right? So does that just kind of offset itself in a sense? Like, does the cost, let's say it cost me $2 for all those things, warehousing and for you to pick it and then to pack it, it cost me on average $2 a box, but I'm also saving $2 in shipping. So it's kind of like a wash, but now I get to wash my hands clean and just have out that free time space. Or is it like, no, it's going to cost you more than that, and there is a cost you got to price in?
Yeah, no, you kind of nailed it. It's like, as you're growing, it should really be this service that doesn't cost you too much, right? It's not like, it should be like draining your bank and fulfillment costs every month. Like how ShipBob is set up, and really we don't even make money off the warehousing and the receiving. Really how we make our margin is the better negotiated rates we can get, the better. And that's, to be transparent, that's how we make our money, is those negotiated shipping rates, because that's how we bake our margin in there. But with that being said, I think what really is nice about ShipBob is the more our brands grow, the more we grow. So we really view it as this partnership of, hey, we want to help you get to the next level. We can help you by connecting you with the right partners, the right agency. We can help with connecting you to the right financing company, all of those things, because the more you grow, the more ShipBob grows. And so that's really like the nice thing I would say about fulfillment is it's really a partnership, and we really want our brands to double their order volume in the first year of using us. And I believe it was like, we did a study with our Shopify brands, and it was a crazy number, and I'm blanking on the stat, which is bad, but it was like 60% of brands that utilize a ShipBob in their first year of shipping with us, like doubled their order volume.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
So so I mean, obviously you can't put a price on partnerships. Maybe you can, I guess, but you sort of can't though. Sometimes, like the contacts you'll make within something like you guys have, like I would never be able to reach out to, so-and-so, but through this partnership I have, I'm able to. So that makes sense to me. I'm also blanking. I had a follow-up on this as well, but I'm totally blanking. So I might come back to it. Yeah, I'm going to come back to it. Hopefully it comes back to me, because it was a good one. But the platform itself. So I was looking on the website. So the platform, so I can log into my ShipBob account. How simple is this to use? Is this something where people really like? And you talking about like seeing your inventory in different centers? Is this something I can all do from this platform?
Yeah. So if you want to test out ShipBob, or you want to play around the dashboard, you can sign up for free. Just go to shipbob.com and create an account. And you can go ahead, like I said, sign up for free. Our dashboard's completely free. It will give you dummy data to play around with. You can look at what inventory counts look like. We show all of your products. We show all of your bundles. We have, a way where you can play around with like, hey, I'm a brand. I'm shipping 1,000 shipments per month. I'm thinking about, maybe I'm a swimsuit brand, let's say, for example, I'm thinking about putting some inventory in the West Coast. What you can do is you can turn on a button that says West Coast fulfillment, and then it will actually show you, oh, I'm going to see a decrease in, getting a call. I'm going to see a decrease in my average transit time by X, and I'm going to see my postage costs go down by X. Crazy. So you can essentially play around with all of this without actually sending inventory, which is like the coolest part to me. It's like my favorite feature. Like I love going in there. Yeah. And being like, what would it look like if I'm a brand that's doing 400 shipments per month and I want to have inventory in like the UK? It's looking at your historical data, and it's basically giving you estimates of what you can expect, which is amazing.
No kidding. Fascinating stuff. And I remember what I was going to ask you with the follow-up. So I'm glad to see that the platform is nice and easy to use. So it all integrates, I guess, just to follow up, finish up on the platform stuff. It would just integrate to your Shopify or you said WooCommerce or BigCommerce?
Yeah. So platforms we integrate with are BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, Square, Squarespace, ShipStation. We integrate with Amazon. We can do FBM. And then of course we integrate with all of your entire tech stack. I think that's really what sets ShipBob aside from other 3PLs. And really from a holistic view, you want your 3PL to integrate with your entire tech stack, right? You want them to be able to integrate with like your Gorgeous, who's a customer support tool, to help answer those like Wizmo questions, which is, where's my order, right? Like basically how it works with ShipBob is we can give all of these pre-shipment statuses to Gorgeous, because that's like the number one support question is, where's my order?
Where's my box?
Yeah, where's my box? So essentially what we're doing is we're sending that information to Gorgeous to be like, hey, it's in ShipBob, they're waiting, it's DHL arrival pickup is X, or the item is being picked. And we get so detailed as we can tell them the name of who's actually picking the physical inventory. And then, of course, like integrating with your email, your SMS, all those things are really important, especially for brands being able to communicate quickly and automate stuff. But as far as to go back to your questions, I get off in tangents. But to go back to your question, we integrate with all the major e-commerce platforms.
Have you guys considered like something like Subly, which is subscription only, or Cratejoy? Those are two other kind of like big subscription only platforms. And do you maybe partner with them?
Yeah, we partner with Cratejoy and we have an integration with them as well. Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to get you in contact with Stefan from Subly then, because that's he's out of Scotland, but that's a huge subscription brand. They've got something, last I checked, I don't know, I don't want to under or overstate. I think it was around 10,000 subscription brands with them. So massive company as well. So we'll have to get you in contact with Stefan because we need to do an integration there. I'm not too sure how that wouldn't work. I'm not going to pretend I know the tech side of things, but speaking of tech, sorry, did you have something you want to follow up on that?
No, I was just saying all these subscription companies are amazing, from the Recharges of the world to the Cratejoys. It's like, we always say, we always encourage brands to do subscription. It's just do D2C too, and do, your regular orders and be able to order things regularly, a one-off. But subscription is just so great. It's just reoccurring revenue. I think every brand that offers it is very, very smart.
Well, yeah, the lifetime value, the recurring, the predictability, it is amazing. But there's a cost to doing that as well, right? I mean, as you know, it's much more expensive to acquire someone. To get you, Karley, to subscribe to something is a lot harder than you to buy off a one-off scarf or whatever, right? So,
yeah, I mean, I'm a subscription queen. I love everything to be automated. I don't want to think about when I'm going to get my razors. I just want them to show up at my door exactly when I'm running out of them.
Nice. Cool. Easy to set up this whole process? Is it something difficult? Can anyone do it? Do you need to hire a tech team to set this all up for you?
No, I mean, when it comes to the e-commerce platforms, Shopify, even Walmart or any of them, it's really, really simple. I think our Shopify integration, I'm not a very technical person, but it takes 3 minutes. You're literally copying and pasting your URL. You're putting it into your ShipBob dashboard. You're hitting link store. We're pulling all of your products from your store, how they populate on, I'm going to use Shopify, for example, but how they populate on your Shopify store, what they're called is exactly what they pull into your ShipBob dashboard. From there, we'll go ahead, you'll work with your implementation manager, set up bundles, set up everything you have. And then we typically will test out an order. Let us ship an order to you. You tell us how it arrives. If you're unsatisfied, let us know and we can fix it. But yeah, we always encourage brands to test a couple orders before hitting the ultimate go button.
Cool. And I imagine there must be some issues sometimes that happens and stuff like that. Maybe that's why it's a good time to go in at 300-400 orders rather than 10,000, where it's oh no, what's happened here? Okay, so let's say this is my question I want to bring to you. So let's say I'm Joe, Joe from Razor Brand X, and I'm I do all my own fulfillment. I've always had my own little team, my own warehouse. I'm getting decent rates. You must happen to so brands that come to you, in other words, all the time. I must be why would someone want to go to a fulfillment center when they kind of have it under control with their own team? And is it sometimes just not a fit?
Yeah. So I think that a lot of times actually people ask us who's your biggest competitor? And it's really the brands that are doing self-fulfillment. And really what I say to those brands is, hey, you probably only have one fulfillment center. And I think the multiple fulfillment centers really helps with just so many things, getting the order to the end consumer faster, getting it there cheaper, reducing your carbon footprint. So that's really what we talk to brands that are doing self-fulfillment is, hey, to be competitive in your space, you really probably have to be delivering on these things and these SLAs, even as subscription boxes. they might only go out once, twice a month, but getting the product right and having it get to the consumer on time is really important.
Yeah, I was talking to a gentleman. I'm not going to call him out, but he had a fulfillment center, or he was using fulfillment, and he went back to they were warehousing. It was too much. They went to fulfillment. They went back to their own warehouse with employees because they just found that there was like maybe mistakes being made, and they were just like the control thing. Do you have a lot of people that come to like visit? So let's say I'm decide to use ShipBob for my Americans, moms and babies. I would fly out to Texas and be like, have my hands on like, this is how we want to pack everything, like kind of like OCD and entrepreneurs that want things done a certain way. Do people come and visit, and you guys kind of like help them with that to ease their, I don't know, micromanagement anxiety?
I mean, it's your like baby. It's your like livelihood. We get it. Yeah. You can set up tours to see our Canada fulfillment center and our US fulfillment center, any of our fulfillment centers. During COVID, it was really hard to have people in our fulfillment centers just with like the safety of everything. So we're definitely taking precautions still, but yes, you can come see the fulfillment center. You can see what we're going to package your order in. You can see what it goes through. And then I think the really cool thing, especially for subscription brands, because they're usually custom packaging and a lot of customization to them, we'll tell our brands to take a video in a certain way. And then at the packing station, there's actually a screen of how they want it packaged. So it like shows you live, and it just plays on repeat until you complete the order out. But it's like, okay, take the box, put X here, put, X here, like put it all this way, close up the box, then you press done and it goes on to the next thing. So yeah, I mean, we totally get it. It's our brand's livelihood. It's their baby. So we definitely understand that and allow people to come to our fulfillment centers.
Yeah, that'd be huge for subscription box. Because I know, like for us, the moment they open their box, everything has to be kind of like every month stuff is placed in a particular way for a reason. It's all about kind of like the aesthetics of the whole thing. So, man, I think we've covered a lot of ground. Is there anything else we should know when it comes to ShipBob and what you guys do for subscription brands, and maybe how we reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. I will share my email. It's just KDAUDELL at ShipBob.com. And then, of course, do you have a link by chance? Do you have an affiliate link for ShipBob?
I do not have an affiliate link for ShipBob. No.
Okay, I will get you one made. And then, of course, for anyone that comes through, just reference the podcast and we'll honor, $300 off of $300 in free shipping credits for any brand that wants to work with us to help, ease the pain of getting started. So just make sure to reference that you heard it here, and then I'll make sure that you get an affiliate link as well.
Cool. Appreciate that. That's awesome. That's awesome, guys. Take advantage of it. I mean, if you're listening and you're starting, this is something for the future for sure for you. If you're just kind of getting your feet wet in subscriptions, and because we know just from our listeners, you should probably know like just people that are starting, people that are established, and people that are huge. So wherever you're at in your journey in subscription boxes and in the subscription industry, this is something to take a serious look at, because I know for us switching to a fulfillment center, although not ShipBob, it was a huge savings in our stuff. And now that we want to explore more international as we grow, I think it's something we'll have to maybe take more seriously. And I really like the kind of like the model, and I, doing show prep and stuff. I was really intrigued. That's why we wanted you guys on the show, because I think it's a huge player in that kind of aspect of subscriptions. And it's something I think it can probably help most brands listening here in all seriousness. Yeah, I think that's it. So your last name, I didn't want to mispronounce it. Is it pronounced Daudell?
Daudell. It's actually French. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask if it was you speak.
Yeah.
You obviously speak French if you're in California. You don't speak French, do you?
No, I don't.
Where does the French name come from?
My dad is French and German, and my mom's 100% Greek. So I am definitely a mutt.
As most Canadians. So I'm definitely a mutt as well. I'm like Ukrainian, French, and Irish. There's a mutt in all of us here. So cool. Well, thanks for doing this, Karley Daudell. Really appreciate your time. Me. Yeah, this was a blast. Your knowledge was unbelievable. So I mean, you were nailing everything. So thanks for doing this. Appreciate your time. Make sure to. So it was, again, the email was KDAUDELL at ShipBob
one word.com.
Yep.
And then, yeah, it's $300 off shipping credits. Take advantage of it. And if you have any questions, I'm also just happy to be a resource and advise in any way that I can.
Cool. Appreciate that. And yeah, we're going to have those links in the show notes anyways. And I was going to say, if you guys are going to be at Sub Summit, maybe let's confirm that. That'd be cool. Maybe I can post that in our locals community to go shake hands. Are you going to, would you be the one going there?
Yeah, it will be me or maybe another teammate of mine who's a little bit closer, but we'll see. I mean, I love hitting the road, and Florida is a beautiful place with really nice weather. So wouldn't mind going to Orlando.
Yeah, beautiful weather. Speaking of beautiful weather, you are in California, mind you. I mean, come on.
True. Very true. Can't complain.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, please don't complain. We still have a ton of snow as we're recording this year. Like it's literally everything is white outside. So, but anyways, thanks for doing this. Appreciate your time, and make sure to reach out to her. We're going to have the links in the show notes and shipbob.com if you want more. Oh, I should mention, is there like some kind of like a subscription brand people can look for if they want to do some kind of like peer reviews and see like, oh, these guys are using them?
Totally. Yeah. Go to ShipBob.com, go to customers, and that's where you'll find all of our customer case studies. And we highlight a bunch of our subscription brands. Beauty and food are some of our top verticals. And that's really a lot of subscription brands. So it will highlight them nicely and really like go through why they chose ShipBob, why they're happy with ShipBob, and so on.
Love it. Okay. Well, thanks for doing this, Karley, again. And we shall maybe see you in Sub Summit.
Hopefully. Thank you.
Take care. Cheers.
Bye.